Hello and welcome to SoulWhat Podcast. I am your host, Michelle Welch. It's a Soultopia podcast with our producer, Matt Stoker. Diane, I am so glad you came on the show tonight to save me from myself.
Yeah, I am delighted to be here because I love shenanigans. So keep it up. Just keep going with what you're doing.
And we were just talking about that with the last names, and you see who screwed that one up.
Okay, you wanna intro that again?
No, because I
cue music and do that again.
Repeat a mulligan on the. Can we get a mulligan there, Matt?
This is SoulWhat. You know, you guys were talking about radio, so I was going to say SoulWhat Blog Talk Radio.
Oh my God!
It is not that. It is not that at all.
We're a little bit beyond
podcast,
that. We're a little bit beyond that.
We've barely improved from that.
We have come a long way since that. I have no idea what we're talking about, but we do have with us Diane Ferraro tonight, and I'm reading the bio again. We're going to have you read it one day, Roger.
Okay, I did. I read yours.
Yeah, you did a great job reading mine.
Yeah.
You did. You really did.
But yes.
Sweet. So I'm going to read, Diane, we're going to have you showing here while I read your great podcast. So Diane Ferraro is the host of the Urban Siren Podcast. And you guys, I've been going around calling her the Urban Siren, so she can explain that in a little while. And she's the founder of the Urban Siren family on Instagram. And she's got a lot of at Urban Siren Creative, at Urban Siren Wellness. And you can check out her poetry and writing challenges on at Urban Siren. With more than 25 years as a business leader, 15 years as a yoga practitioner, and nearly 5 decades as a human, she blends practical and grounded guidance with the art of divination to support people in their personal growth journeys. A lifelong student of human potential and wellness, she elementally understands the hero and heroine's journey. I love that. And offers those who wish to grow and expand a supportive environment through tarot, card readings, goal strategizing, and the new kind of way to meet up, virtual coffee clutches by video. And you can learn more. She's going to tell you all the ways of Urban Siren. Welcome, Diane. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for reading that bio back to me. Now I know what I need to tweak. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Tell me what you need to tweak. What needs to be tweaked on this bio? If I had a pen, we'd start working. Give me a pen, Roger. What needs to be tweaked?
I want to see red marks on that by the time we're done.
Seriously, what jumped out at you?
Well, you know, it's so funny because when we were talking about the Urban Siren family, I'm like, not like the family, like the cultish kind of family, you know. Not like the cult leader type of family.
Just the
benign family. I didn't want that to get like across there.
Well, it's like in quotes, so I went family.
In quotes. See, that's right. It translates deeper. Like not a Charles Manson sort of family.
Not that kind of family. I don't know. It may be. No, I'm kidding. No, except that didn't stand out to me as anything. I was wondering that to me it sounded really good.
Yeah.
Aw,
I thought
you're
so too.
sweet.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're doing this because I've been like Roger, like, you know, falling in love with your wife for like now weeks now as being co-students on Monty's astrology class, which has been unbelievable. It's just so good to be able to like talk to you and like, I feel like we're talking in person. But.
I know it's so interesting, right? Because we have been spending so much time together on all these different Zoom things that we've been on. And then you were on Ask the Oracles. I was on Ask the Oracles. And I think, I know I watched you on Ask the Oracles. I watched Monty and Amy on your Instagram. So all these, weaving in and out. And then we've been in the astrology class together. And of course, Roger's always trying to.
13 weeks.
13 weeks of that and counting, right? So we feel like we know each other. And then I looked at Roger. And then when we just talked a second ago, I go, but we know each other, but I don't know that many details about you. So tell me a little bit about you, something that's not on this bio that we would want to know about you.
Yes, absolutely. So when I started working with the tarot and divination, right, it was a point of entry to sort of work through things that I just could not understand what was going on. Like, I needed guidance, I needed direction, I needed some support. But what I found was that more than just working with the deck itself, which is, a beautiful tool, what I found amazing, and it kind of comes back to what we're saying, is just this community that we can build with other people. With the tarot only 5 years ago in 2015. But it was through an online community that I was able to really connect with people and really learn and grow. And I think it like speaks volumes about how we can relate to one another, even if it's just through the screen.
I agree with you. What do you think about that, Roger?
I like that.
Yeah. How do you feel like relating through the screen and what we've had to do during COVID? How do you feel about that?
Well, for years I said, we don't have to go to the office for meetings. We can do these meetings by Zoom and connect easily. Of course, I got shot down on that every time until it all happened. And they're like, oh, we like this.
Yeah.
So I think it is an easy way to, you can still see people, still see, to their face, their energies and stuff like that, and still, have a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. If I'm honest, I'm still, and I am always bluntly honest.
No, tell us how you really feel.
I'm going to. I am still getting used to it because, like last night, I did a free Zoom thing on my book, The Magic of Connection. Over here. And so I did this free Zoom thing on Sunday. And because there were screens, which was lovely, to have multiple, like 3 screens of people on there. But I didn't feel like I necessarily could feel whether or not I couldn't read the room, like you could. And I'm not talking about intuitively reading. I just couldn't feel.
You couldn't feel the energy of how other people's.
Okay, is this getting boring at this point? Is this getting? I'm still getting used to that, because I couldn't really. I don't think I'm tech savvy enough at this point. And I know you were talking about tarot, but I'm talking about just in general. I think, and that does tie in intuition because, people say, can you get people's vibes? But for me, yes, I can. I don't have to I don't have to see them to do a reading. I don't have to see somebody, but to feel like I'm connecting, just talking, it helps me to kind of feel to talk, just to have a conversation, to be able to see somebody. And when I'm talking to maybe 40 or 50 people, I kind of want to see the room. I'm still getting used to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the only one. Yeah, you like it. You're just like, I don't have to have another meeting. Yeah.
40, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people. Just jump up there and go.
Well, I'm not nervous about it. I just want to know, you kind of want to go, okay, are y'all jiving with this or should we move on to something else? And you can usually tell when you're in a room full of people. In a courtroom, you can look at a jury and you can tell, are you losing them? Or you're picking a jury and you have 50 people. You can tell. Are they with you or are they check it out? Just by looking, not just with your intuition, but all of it, right? So enough of that. But I'm not totally caught up with it. And maybe if I had a big screen where I could see everybody, I'd be better.
We can always take the projector and project it to the wall.
There you go.
When I did stand-up comedy, but it wasn't I retract. I did improv comedy in New York for 3 years in New York City. So, that to me trained me for just about every mishap. Almost every mishap imaginable, right? Like just that fear and that terror of being like, oh my God, what if this goes south? Yeah. And many times I felt it did, I'm like, oh God, if they don't laugh, I'll die. So so when people ask like, what can I do to get, past my, thought of like going live on a screen or whatever, I'm like, even if it's on a screen, do improv comedy. Will like break your soul.
Yeah.
So that you never have to be afraid of that stuff again.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm not afraid of but oh my God, improv comedy, no way. Let me just tell you, getting up in front of a jury, one thing, but what was your shtick? What did you? Oh
my God, that's the best. I love that, Michelle. I love that. Like you're putting yourself out there. You're standing before a judge and a jury. I couldn't. That's terrifying to me. But I guess, the thing about improv is that you want to work with your nature, right? You want to just be, you have to be you. You can't be anybody else, because nobody else is going to save you at that point when you're on the stage looking into the lights, and you've got to come up with something, right? You're not, but at the same time, you turn into some kind of character, but you don't know what that character is until the scene begins, or the audience gives you the prompt, or whatever. So I guess my thing was just sort of, well, the thing about improv is that the rule is yes and. So you never negate your partner or your scene team. So if somebody brings something up, you go with it. You don't negate it. Like if you were to say to me, say for instance, oh my gosh, Susie, there's here comes a boat. If I were to say, I don't see a boat out there, why would you think there's a boat out there? Then where do we go? But no, you've brought up the boat. Now the boat is in the room, and now I'm with you on that. I'm backing you up. So it's like you need to, the one of the rules about improv is that you make your team or your co-actor, your co-improv, you make them look great. That's your job. You make them look great. And the other is doing that for you. Now you could fall into a dynamic of like someone's a comic heavy, right? Or whatever, like the classic scenes that play out where it's like, someone's a little bit, of the comic heavy, and the other one's kind of like out there, or, like, woo.
Yeah.
But you just figure it out as you go along. But you just do. You always have your partner's back, and that's another rule of life. And live stuff like this, you always get their back, so that nobody falls. And then the show is a success.
That's good to know.
What I mean?
Huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went and saw one time. We won't talk the whole show about improv, but it would scare me to death. Would you do it?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be funny. I am not that funny. Like, not intentionally funny. I am like the one that you make fun of because I say the stuff that like not very smart stuff sometimes. Like the obvious, we can't even say it, the stuff I say that I'll go, that's a
that
what?
Could be it. That could be genius. That could be like the really that could be like the sweetness of it, like almost the innocence of it, and you could get tremendous laughs by just being.
Is it innocent?
Silly, exactly, innocent and sweet.
It's
because
innocent, sweet.
All that. Then maybe you've got a character, opposing you that's like, going to play the bad cop, you play the cute cop.
You're right.
That.
You know what? It's right over there. The improv is. We can just go there and try it out.
It's
no.
Yes, Diane.
Yeah, it's right
it's
there.
5 minutes. It's like literally. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. I'm like in the boonies. I'm like 3 hours outside of New York City. It's like me and like seagulls. Like, and that's it. Like, I'm just like chasing seagulls.
Now this one, they were having. I think was it live that somebody was going to be there? Who was it? You were.
No, there's been several people over there live, and Dave Chappelle was supposed to be there, but he came down with COVID. But
probably because he'd been going live.
Yeah,
doing stuff.
could have been.
No, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that, but yeah, you know who I saw? Do y'all remember that that thing that went around? Well, these two won't, but I don't know. You're younger than me too, Diane, but not the women are from whatever, men are from wherever. The planets, but I can't remember now.
Okay.
Where you shop, men are hunters, women are gatherers. Did you ever see that, Matt? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I know
think so.
I know that concept, but I'm not really sure what.
That was some comedy act. It wasn't improv.
Really? Oh.
And it was some federal judge. I won't say his name, but I know who it was. He bought some tickets, and about 6 couples, maybe 4 couples, 5 couples went, and it was hilarious. And I actually laughed because it takes a lot for me to like laugh at comedy. It does. Except for Reno 911, which I had never watched, and now we're watching all on reruns.
Oh my God.
We've been watching it for a week.
I had never, and it's very inappropriate. I don't think they could do that now.
No.
I think it's very not PC.
I know, like my hero is like, like Archie Bunker, like that kind of show,
A friend of mine
stuff.
posted that the other day, and she could post that. Let's just put that, and she was like, "You guys, we're getting all uptight, but if y'all watch this would really and Sanford and Son. She said that. So she was like, yeah, those were good shows though.
Classic.
All right, so back to tarot. Roger, you have questions for Diane?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh
So
my gosh.
no, tell us what have you been, I mean, you have your own podcast, Michelle's own, but what else you got going on?
Yeah. So, with COVID and how it changed everything, and I was in the hospitality business up until this hit. And so my work has turned into something more seasonal, right? So when I have more time, like this time of the year, I've been diving so deep into projects like launching my online school. So I have, like right now, I just put out, and I feel like it's really important these days to offer as much as I can, that this is just for me, just to offer as much as I can that's accessible and in this case free, right?
Yeah.
So like so it doesn't like strain people's pockets. People are, can be, stressed out about what's going on financially. And so I feel like I'm using this time now to be able to give back to, hopefully, to a community that has given me so much. So like when COVID hit, I was listening to podcasts left and right, and I was getting so much, and I was doing online courses, and I was getting like so much value. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to, put back into this feed what I've been able to receive. And so it prompted me to really dig deep into my podcast, to do my online school. And the course I just put out there is about learning the Tarot Fives for 2015. So we're in a 5-year, right? If you want to say 2 + 2 + 1 = 5, right? So we studied the 4 minors and the Hierophant, and it was a blast. And it's like, and some folks had never studied the tarot before. And I just said, well, let's just start with the 5s. I mean, I get it. I get that it's a difficult placement in the suit, but my intention with teaching is to just disarm and like de-demonize the harder cards of the deck, so that if we can work with even people who've never picked up the deck before, the first thing you learn is like the 5s or the 9 of Swords or something like that. Why not? Because then the next time you choose it, it's like, oh, these were the first cards I learned. And do it in a way where it's like, it makes it accessible for people, so that you don't have this preconceived notion in your head, oh my God, I drew this card, and
right.
But it's been really, really fun to work with it that way. And it was fun for me because that's kind of part of my practice, is to try to develop relationships with every single card in the deck that feels empowering and supportive. And listening to some of your SoulWhat podcasts, by the way, there was one where Roger was talking about that. This was amazing to me. You had drawn, I think, the Lovers, Michelle, and I think Roger had drawn the Devil, and he's like, it's the same card that you drew. And it was so awesome. It's like, yes, it is the same damn card. He's like, oh, there's 2 little people there, and there's somebody over them. And I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect, because it brings in this like, yes, it is, and while each card has its own meaning, they all blend together, and they're there to support one another, just like they're there to support us. So trying to take the sting out. And then there was another great podcast that I listened that you did, Michelle, with about, coming out of the metaphysical closet to a community that might be, may not embrace that so much. And that's part of it too, is taking the, de-demonizing these practices, which have been, for lack of a better word, really co-opted, really. And then, reclaiming that and just saying, no, this is really for everyone. And that's another thing I'm really passionate about, is like tarot that's accessible for everybody. So like, how do we work with gender fluid clients and populations and disabled and people, and how do we bring this in, right? And that's really kind of where I'm at right now with that, is trying to be more inclusive.
Right. We've been working on that for a long time, and our store is super inclusive, and that we love to see that. We have in every way. And it's not something, I guess what one of my friends told me is, they just said people know our hearts. And so it's nothing we've ever had to go on about. And a good friend of mine just said, when we were talking earlier about the shows, people who know me, we were talking about, what was it, Sanford and Sons and all that, I said, why is it that people trust us in our store so much? And they were like, they just know you. They know your heart. They know you and Roger. And we have, it's just been so beautiful to see in our store such diversity in every single area. We're starting to see it in the cards more. Starting to see it, I would say more independent decks are doing it. And I think finally and this is of course in all the tarot, the groups online, that's a big issue with all of them. It's not new. It's something they've been talking about for a long time, but you're starting to see the major, the publishers catch on to that. And so I think they realize it too. So I think that's a really good thing. I was going to ask you, and something obviously necessary. It was funny. I was watching something today. It was just off the subject, but it made me realize how non-inclusive stuff has been. It was a compilation of, what is that guy's name? From Footloose. It was that song from Footloose.
Oh,
it was a compilation of tap dancing.
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon. And he had posted this is one of the best, he said, this is one of the best compilations I've seen of music, and it was from Footloose. And it was great. It was all these tap dancers. But what stood out to me was it was not diverse. It was all white people. And I was thinking, that's not who started tap dancing, you guys. Right. I mean, this is not the best compilation of music I've ever seen. So anyway, totally off the subject, but it was not the best compilation. No offense, Kevin Bacon, but it wasn't. I mean, and it was cool. It was all, I don't see how they do that. I don't see how they put that to the music so perfectly, but it was really interesting, right? Okay. Yeah, right. It wasn't the best compilation of tap dancing I've ever seen. But I was going to ask you, what is your favorite, what you going back to the tarot cards and teaching people to start where they are. What is your card that do you remember that you had trouble with? That, that card that gave you, because I know which one mine was, and Roger can tell you. But do you remember which one was yours that you had trouble with? Like every time it came up, you didn't know, besides court cards.
You took the answer out. Okay.
Then you can do a court card, but then
No, but that's okay. No, that's fair enough, because I feel like the court cards are, I think what I've started to my relationship with the court cards is developing more into a sense of the mastery of the energetic intention of the suit, right? So the page can be the youthful, intentional energy of the suit, but it's the mastery of that. And when I say youthful, I don't mean age-wise. I mean coming in like a beginner's mind, right? And then the knights feeling more like we're taking action in that way, and then the queens being sort of inclusive and receptive and open, right? And all seeing, like high priestessy. And then we've got the kings, who are the embodiment within the community, or being part of the fabric of the world. But for the longest time, I was lost in space with the court cards, and I still pause because I'm wait, let me just think this one through. But I would say the card that, gosh, I don't recall a card where I was oh God, what about this one? But I will say that there are a few cards in which my relationship has changed profoundly, like Two of Swords, where I saw that as perhaps a state of being paralyzed in being unable to choose. Right? Opposite of Two of Pentacles sort of concept, but feeling paralyzed and not being able to move and choose because of just inertia. I see that more as a profound boundary keeper.
I love that. That's my favorite card, by the way.
Yes.
That and Justice. The Two of Swords and Justice are my favorite cards. I didn't really ever know why. Say it again, what you now think of it. What'd you just say? Boundary? Profound boundary?
A profound boundary keeper. So, I'm actually just going through my deck just to see if she pops through, but I see her a lot as the high priestess's little sister. Her blindfold is there so that she can reduce the noise that's coming in. And she's not she's not beholden to looking outside of herself. And those swords are protective. It's a boundary. It's like wolf energy.
Yeah.
And she's not letting anything get to her that's not, yep, there it is. She's not letting anything get to her until she is damn well ready to let it through. And it's like she's the gatekeeper.
I love
which
that.
Again makes me feel like she's like this, like the little sister.
I love that. Yeah. Funny story. So, we have a store, so we promote our store, but there's a store that when people used to go to the malls, it's called Earthbound, right? So it's a good little store. And they had this canvas of the Two of Swords, the traditional Rider-Waite. And nobody catches it. It's in my office. Very few. In fact, Chiro Marchetti was here, and finally he looked up at it and he goes, "That's not right." And I go, "How long have you been sitting in my office, Chiro?" And a lot of people, I think it was Chiro. It might have been somebody else. I don't want to out Chiro and say it was him, but it was somebody like that had come, somebody who is known for making these decks. I don't know who it was. I think it might have been Chiro. And so many people do it. And at the bottom of it, it doesn't say Two of Swords. It says justice. And so they put justice on the Two of Swords. It's kind of like you were talking about the devil and the Lover's card. And so I was like, I've got to buy that because I just loved it.
Oh, that's perfect.
So my card was the what, Roger, that I could never learn for the longest time?
The Eight of Wands.
The Eight of Wands. Those wands just going or
just
coming.
Flying through the sky.
Flying through the sky. I was just like,
wait, are they coming or are they going?
I was like, give me something here
are they
to
moving?
work with.
Yeah. I don't even think there's like an indication of a breeze on that card. It's like
They're just floating. They're levitating.
Just levitating wands.
Right there.
just
right.
And
Pamela Coleman, help us.
Give me something. Yeah. I mean, they might as well draw on, the old-timey way, the 8 wands, just were, or the way we're, nothing, no help
Just
whatsoever.
Scattered on the ground.
Now it's so interesting, though, because it's like you said, though. Now that card, I get so much out of. It changes every time I read it, but it's because I've embraced it. I get so much out of it.
Yep.
Out of that card. Hello. Right. But you guys see, there's some little leaves on there. It's got some fruitfulness or some life to it, but they're basically just some sticks flying through the air. Let's be honest.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah. I remember sitting there and just when I first decided I really wanted to learn the tarot, and I just had the whole deck spread out like on my bed because I was reading, and I'm like, it's to tarot card readers on Instagram. I'm texting them and I'm like, how do you do it? Like, how am I supposed to learn 78 cards? It's impossible. But then you start to develop a relationship, right? It's like you develop a relationship over time, and you study, and
you study.
I've read so many books, and I've listened to so many amazing teachers, and
and you always learn for somebody else, just like tonight. Always. What you said, like my favorite card, but you gave me something else, and that's why we always just listen to someone else. The teacher learns, the learner teaches, whatever that saying is.
Well,
I'm finding my words tonight.
Over time, you probably find yourself that it evolves a little bit. The more you read, the more you're working with the cards, you find the meanings actually evolve and more. It's kind of like you're talking about like the suit cards, it's
court cards.
Or the court cards. I meant you kind of, I know what this means, but then a year later it means totally something different because you kind of evolved that. And so you learn more and more through it.
There's just so much to learn. It's so deep. And that's the thing. That's why we have a lot of readers here at Soultopia. And we have our phone bank now, right? Our phone bank.
Yeah.
Our Soultopia Talk. We have started our we thought it was time, and we have a funny story about that too. But then I'm sure Roger will tell.
I do.
Our number, the 1-800 number.
Oh my God.
That's a Michelle stand-up.
Yeah, this is one of those. She said, "Why don't we get a 900 number?"
Well, he told me, Matt's laughing.
Why don't you?
Well, so we paid for the platform. You don't just, sit here and answer the calls. That's not how it works anymore, right? It's not like somebody sitting going, can I help you? Let me put you through. And you pay for this.
It's all, electronics and
all
stuff.
Out in the cloud. I don't know, somewhere, some magically way it happens. Wands. But he goes,
somewhere like where the Eight of Wands is hanging out.
Yeah,
like
somewhere with the Eight of Wands, exactly. And I said, well, Roger, he said, well, this is really good, whichever platform it is that we got and paid for and everything. Yep. And I said, well, why is it so good? Give me all the reasons. You got to pitch it to me. I need to know what we're investing here up front. And he said, well, mainly because it's a lot of these have 1-900 numbers too. And I go, well, are they less expensive? And they do the same thing. He goes, yeah, but they're 1-900 numbers. And I go, well, so it's a 1-900. I was like, just get it. It's cheaper. Like we're going to save money. It's 1-900 number. And he goes, he just lets me, you know that thing you said, not like support your partner. He's just like going, okay.
Yeah, letting you go.
And he goes, okay, Michelle, we'll get the 1-900. And then finally I go, I just don't get it. And we're basically almost to an argument. He looks at me and goes, Michelle, it's porn. And I go, oh, okay, we'll get the 1-800 number.
1-900. 1-900 Soul Talk. Welcome to
1-900 Hot Wands.
Yeah.
I think we can make this work.
908 of Wands. I don't know. It's just like I didn't, and he just left me hanging for like 45 minutes of convincing him why we needed the 1-900 number. Matt,
beautiful.
We almost had a 1-900 number.
I think all of us have stayed up late enough at night to see those commercials.
Everybody but Michelle.
I guess
And I
not.
stay up all night sometimes. I don't know, but
How did you never seen that? Really? It's not like that's something brand new.
No,
It's been around for like 40 years.
I just didn't ever know. And here's another thing I said. I said, well, I don't. He goes, well, they won't answer the 1-900 number. They won't do that. And I go, well, I don't answer the 1-800 number. So what's the difference? I mean, I ignore all of them. So
I would love to see you set up both and just see the difference in callers between the two.
Yeah, I think we're onto something. I think there might be a SWOT analysis down the road waiting.
I know, God. I'm so big on we have to be ethical. I'm so uptight. And then we have the 1-900 number that I fought for.
Well, you pull the devil card and the lover's card, and they're like, well, are you telling me something else on the phone now?
It's like, oh my God.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I love it.
So
see, he's such a good improv partner. He's like he lets you run with it, and that is hilarious. Just see, case in point. I think my point has been made.
I think your point is made, but it's usually
you're
at
a
my
comic
expense.
Genius, Michelle. You're a comic genius.
Yeah, right. Which card was hardest for you?
None of them.
I knew you were going to say that. He's supposed to take it and run with it, right?
I did. None
of
them.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to yes and that
I don't
now.
know. Let me look.
You know what? He's so confident. He'll take a card.
Nope.
He's just like, he's like that person in the room that he was be that person in law school that I would have studied all night and not know the answer still after studying all the cases.
None of them.
He would not read one of them and he'd go in and put me to shame in front of the professor.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So we took a class years ago, went to this class, and literally this is what it was. The lady had a board with the cards taped to the board, and this card means da 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 da. This card means da 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 da. That was the entire class for 6 weeks.
Oh no.
Yes.
Hey, I've used those boards.
The only benefit is the fact that even in school, I was that kid that if I heard it, I remembered it. So I remembered all the cards.
Yeah, he does. He does have a good memory that way. So there you go.
Or make it up.
Or he just makes it up and says he remembers it.
That's okay. I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, you tell me, and that's the thing about tarot, right? Yeah. You could tell you. Well, you tell me. You tell me what the card is.
Neil tells me all the time. Just make that shit up.
Yeah. Well.
Right.
Yeah, it's your intuition. So, but how do you feel about people? You talked about studying. How do you feel about? And it's not. I don't mean this as a judgment. I just want your opinion. I like a blend, and I like people, at least personally, to have a blend of a knowledge of the cards, some that they've studied the cards, and using their intuition. But I really want to know that they at least have respected the cards and the history of the cards enough to study them a little bit. That's just me. I guess the people who work for me, it's important to me that you can be, I believe you can be psychic and have a psychic knowingness, and I'm reclaiming that word psychic because, the connotation has been the 1-900 number thing, but given a bad rap, psychic stuff. But how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm not saying that everybody has, really study them, but I think they should give some credence to the history and learn something about the cards.
Yeah, with how the tarot has progressed over the centuries, right? Since the 1430s or something, when the first game was discovered in Italy, or who knows, but no one really knows, right? But cartomancy, right? The idea of looking at the cards and reading them for divination purposes, rather than treating them like a game, which is what totally different deck, totally different intention, but developed into this system of cartomancy, right? So I think it's even important to just kind of know a little bit, even if you don't have everything completely, dates exact and locations and all the rest of it, just have a bit of a working knowledge when it comes to where we've come from. Because all right, so I'm a double Capricorn, right? So I'm like the biggest buzzkill you've ever met. So I'm a big believer in just authority and structure and where we've come from and hierarchy and all that other stuff. Just knowing what the system is intended to do, so that you have a relationship to it. Because why cartomancy? Why not tea leaves? Or why not palm reading? Or why not pendulum? Or why not, if you feel like it's, all the same, without its own history, that's not necessarily really, you're not really being germane to the art of this particular form of divination, right?
We are the same.
So I do think it's I found it in my learning to just understand where we've come from. And then, and out of respect for people that kicked off the tarot to be more of a divination tool, like the Smith Rider-Waite crew, the Hermetic Tarot, even, just different, because that's totally different than the Smith Rider-Waite, right? Just to understand the family, right? Back to the family. Understand the family of what we're working with a little bit, just so you have an idea. And then, maybe understand the baseline of what the traditional meanings of the cards were. So if I'm using the Smith Rider-Waite deck, which I am in this particular situation, I've got my little white booklet. I understand a little bit about Pamela Coleman Smith. I understand her as an artist a little bit. I understand the idea of maybe hopefully what she was trying to convey through her art. So to me, it's also important to understand who created the deck and what was the intention behind that. And I think that's beautiful, because then the art lives on, because again, we're looking at pictures. So again, why not tea leaves? So if you're going to be looking at these pictures, maybe understand where they come from. So I agree with you entirely, Michelle, in that sense. And then I also feel like what's getting even more exciting is that folks are now looking at the tarot and looking at the meanings of the cards, and they are bringing it into modern day, so that we can so if the tarot is not for everybody, then it's not for anybody. So if someone feels like they're left out of that card description, or they've not been included in some way, shape, or form, then me as a reader, I feel like I'm doing disservice.
Absolutely.
So I feel like, I need to polish my language. I need to polish my relationship to what is. But I am, you can take the girl out of Saturn, but you can't take Saturn out of the girl. I will always be that disciplined daddy type of person. So I stand with you on that. Yeah.
Right. And I do believe in making, and I've got Ethany's deck here. One of Ethany's a friend of, do you know Ethany, Dawn?
I know of her, but I've I've never connected with her.
You guys need to connect. We love Ethany. We carry all of her cards here. It's almost like an Ethany station of decks here. And she came out with 4 decks at one time. It wasn't intentional. And I've got Chris Ann's decks. Chris Ann Donnelly's here too. But this deck, we hold it up, Roger. This Modern Love Tarot. She's tried. She's really attempted to kind of get some diversity in here, and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people are attempting to do it, and and realizing, you know, they're starting to put, and of course, like you said, the reading too. But I agree with getting to know the artist and getting to know the writer of because sometimes the artist and the writer of the guidebook are not the same. I've even found that well, just like Rider-Waite Smith, or you know, and Pamela Smith, you know, it's the same thing. And so I feel like all of that is important. Every aspect. What do you think, Roger?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you need to kind of, because sometimes I've seen some cards too, where the artist puts their own spin with the card meaning. Maybe it's a little different too than what we would traditionally think of the card meaning, and put their own spin to it. So you definitely have a lot of that out there too.
Yeah, but I just really, and I think that we are all growing in our craft, and as long as everybody continues to grow and go with the times, and not get stuck in it, I think we can keep the history, but we move it along. And that's what's kind of, you know, it's kind of, if a modality can't change with the times and grow with the times, and that says something about the modality. But if it can, then I think that's what makes it live on. And I think the tarot is doing that, right?
I agree. It's completely the opposite of obsolete. I mean, it's growing faster than, I mean, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing.
Even only the five tiny years that I've been playing around with it, it's been like a whole new.
You know, you said something earlier that I'm going to wake Matt up with. You said something that you're a double Capricorn. Now, I want to tell you something. We were talking about Monty and Amy, and how Monty and Amy, that's Monty Farber and Amy Zerner. Everyone knows that. I'm sure all of us have a love fest for them. And so they're just wonderful people. They've been on the show. And I should have their decks in here too, but it's getting kind of crowded in this room, so we usually have their decks in here. But you said something. You said you're a double Capricorn. Now, Monty, a couple of months ago, said to Matt, when he was on our show, he said, Capricorns have just had it. Am I right, Matt? They have just, aren't you a Capricorn?
Yes.
Okay, he said they've just had he didn't say it this way, but a hell of a year. You know, they've just had it. It is horrible, basically. But it's going to get better around December, as I recall. And I've got a pretty daggum good memory. That's what he said.
You recall that better than I did.
Yeah, he said around December, things will start changing for Capricorns. So you're a double Capricorn.
Oh, my God.
So have things started changing for Capricorns? Have things gotten better?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, so, you know, it's just in general a shit show. I mean, listen, I wouldn't wish this on anybody else. I'm a double Capricorn. And what I mean by that is that, you know, Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn, right? And Saturn is a hard planet. Saturn does not foofa around. It does not like, you know, it doesn't like beating around the bush. It doesn't like flakiness. It doesn't like not following through. It's a consequences type of planet, right? So I think the thing about Capricorns is that we're always, now listen, no, so Michelle, as you know, because now you're an astrologer and right? With you've got the sun as your, you know, as one of the spices in your soup, right? So your sun sign, your moon sign, your ascendant, what's hanging out around your midheaven, and all the rest of it, right? And some of the other biggies like Mercury and So I feel though that, like, for instance, I personally have a lot of Saturn and Capricorn in my chart. Right. So for me, it ain't ever gonna lighten up. Okay. It's not, you know, this is it. I'm chewing tin cans. That's it. That's what I do. I'm a tenacious tin can chewer, but I feel though that, with every, you know, and this is another thing that I credit this to, I believe it's Jessica Lanyadoo. She is an amazing astrologer, and she's been doing this. She's a young woman. She's like in her, I think, early to mid 40s, and she's been doing astrology for like 25 years, like for the majority of her adult life. So she's legit. And she says, you just don't want to pathologize signs. You don't want to pathologize anybody. but you never want to pathologize a sign. So I say that about myself as being, because I'm self-deprecating in that way. But when it comes to the idea of how Saturn floofs around, it's now moved into Aquarius. So what that means is that it's come out of our sign where it was for a few years. So Saturn in Capricorn, it's home. But when it's home, it's intense because of those two working together. I personally absolutely had an unbelievably growth-oriented and challenging last several years. Like when Monty saw my chart, he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." But when these bigger planets and these heavier with these heavy energies move around, now Saturn is in Aquarius, and it's like that's another influence.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think it's fascinating, but I just feel though that in addition to astrology, we've got other kinds of things. We've got nature and nurture. How were we, what have been our traumas? What have been our triggers? What have we, it's a whole thing.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am with you on that for sure. Yeah, I am. How do you feel, retro? And I posted about Mercury retrograde because I'm always just let's bring it back down here, and we won't get off on that because we need to read. But I posted about it, and people were like, "Thank you." Now, not really a lot of astrologers commented, but everybody else did because people are like, "Oh, don't sign any contracts," and I'm like, "Well, that means don't buy a taco because that's a contract." Just so you know, people. That's a contract. So you're going to have to sign contracts during Mercury retrograde. You're going to have to enter into things. You're going to have to live life. Let's stop blaming it on Mercury. We have enough other things to, so you just have to pause and slow down and do all your RE words. But it's interesting. And it's interesting because Monty's probably one of the most encouraging people I know. So I was just trying to give Matt and all the Capricorns out there a little bit of hope.
A little bit. I don't know, Matt, you feeling any better? I know it's just as horrible as it's always been. But again, like I am just, that's who I am. Like that's just, I like to be, what's the word? I don't mind being in the thick of it, in the sense, watch now, right? Knocking on wood. But what I mean is that, it's my nature. And being in my nature is something I've always known, So,
well, you did say some things, though. You said some things that, like, the doesn't like, no nonsense. And I think you've told me those things before.
Yeah. And I would say just in regards to things getting better, I don't know if I can say that, like, situations have drastically improved, but I was just having this conversation with my wife couple nights ago, and I think it is perspective that has changed, and I'm finally looking back at the past year and everything that's gone on and realize we made it through, and actually not too badly. We were one of the lucky households that were not too impacted by the pandemic, and also like we were able to actually pay some bills off and actually kind of our 2021 is looking better than 2020 was in a lot of ways. And so I think for me, I was able to gain a little bit of perspective and say, despite how challenging it's been, we actually have improved our situation in a number of different ways. And so, if you could call that an improvement, maybe. I think it maybe in some way it is. Not necessarily like we didn't win the lottery, but but we were able to, I think, gain an appreciation on, things really aren't as bad as it has felt they were.
I would think for Capricorns that a change in perspective is a big change. I would think a change in the way you look at things, probably because of the way Capricorns think, that's a huge change. And just knowing you, Matt, I think that is, because you're very just, it's a huge change.
Yeah. And I would say I'm generally a positive person. Like I don't like to worry.
But practical.
Practical, yes. But I also don't like this. With that practicality, I think comes a sense of I don't want to worry about stuff that I don't need to worry about.
Yes.
Whereas my wife is very much like, anything that can happen, the worst possible thing is going to happen. You know, that's the way that she looks at the world. And it's
Present.
It's a constant
Present,
struggle.
reporting for duty.
Right over here.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah.
Working on it.
And that's a constant struggle for me because I'm always like, you know, we're gonna get through this.
Yeah.
That's kind of my mantra.
That's good.
This will pass.
Yeah.
And,
It doesn't work.
And no, it doesn't. It doesn't work. And I generally do get accused of not taking things seriously enough, but that's just the way I am.
Ditto.
Right? Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Well, I was trying to make us feel better, but okay.
Oh, Michelle. Yes, and
the
yes,
Cancer sun, the Scorpio moon, yes, and the Libra ascending here or whatever. Okay. All right.
It's fun though because it's a language, isn't it? It's like you can kind of talk. It's like it's a fun little language to kind of like.
But but I'm totally with you that it's a whole. I believe in the holistic approach to life.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just look at. You know, planets aren't going to totally rule me because I'm a force.
Right.
I'm a planet.
Absolutely, clearly.
So, you know, we all are. All right, so we're going to read. Did we ask that? Okay, so, and we only have like 6 minutes left. So,
oh, gosh, okay.
Because we talked and talked and talked, and we started on time. So, let's see. Did we have a couple that we can do really fast?
I'm asking.
Okay, well, oh, well, I didn't ask. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we are going to start with our 1, 2, 3 so that.
Kathy wants one.
Okay, so no, we're not.
I do
We're
have
going to
some
start
people.
with Kathy. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to have one person read. We're not going to have us all read. So for Kathy, we're going to have, if you don't mind, Diane, reading for, it's a general, I'm assuming, and her name is Kathy.
Okay, so just a general card pull for Kathy?
Yes, please, one card pull.
Okay.
We can get to quite a few people in this 5 minutes we have.
Got it. Sure. Kind of a lightning round.
Yes,
okay.
a total lightning
round. All right, you got it. So I'm using the Mystic Mondays tarot deck, and your favorite card, Michelle, has come up. Judgment.
Love it.
And it's reversed. So, Kathy, my recommendation would be the energy of the card is just sharing that. With judgment being reversed especially, it's okay to take a step back from any situation that's presenting itself that you don't understand fully yet, right? So the quick message is let time sort of help inform the situation. Whatever situation you're looking at, let time inform that situation without you needing to understand it right now. It's not ready to be completely understood.
Okay. Who's next?
Lana.
Okay, so I'm going next, and I am reading from Ethany's. We just showed it. It's her Modern Love Tarot. You guys, it's available at our store. So is Mystic Mondays, by the way. And so here at Soultopia. So this is the Three of Swords in Ethany's deck. I love it. Okay, isn't that cool? So Alana, interestingly enough, the astrology does tie in because I was in your class last night. And so... You know how, if this is the same Alana, otherwise it's the same reading. So you think you're past that triangulation thing. But I feel that you're still doing it. It's not necessarily in relationships of love, like partner relationships, but it's in friend relationships. You get even some work matters. There's some triangulation going on. It's this... Yeah, triangulation, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. Just this, three's a crowd sometimes, and that you're the one who's having to sort of pacify the other two. That's what I get. All right, your turn.
Oh, Kim.
Let
me find a card for Kim. This one will work.
All right.
Oh, Kim. So I've got the 7 of Swords there, Kim. So, kind of, traditional meaning, watching out, things around you, people around you, taking advantage of you. But actually, I don't feel like it is actually somebody stealing something from you. I think it's actually more of a feeling of somebody maybe taking advantage of your good nature. So you might want to kind of pay attention to those people that are kind of close to you or kind of working their way close to you and taking advantage of your energy and yourself and your good nature.
Okay. Who's next?
Next would be Clay.
Diane? Clay.
Okay, you got it. Sure. Hi, Clay. I've got the King of Cups for you, and I've got it reversed. So this is about touching back into yourself, bringing your emotions back to home without projecting outward too much. So if you're feeling like you're putting out there and you're not getting what you would like back, it's time to call it home, right? Come back to center and maybe take a bit of a time out from investing emotionally or putting your energy into projects that are demanding a lot of you energetically. Okay, so it's time to pull back right now.
Okay, who's next?
Next is Leslie.
Leslie, I am reading from Chris Ann's The Muse Tarot. I wanted to show you guys some of the decks we have at the store. This is Chris Ann's. She's the Light Seers, and she also has this one. I love the Muse. The Ace of Emotions is the Ace of Cups. In the Ace of Cups traditional, hers is called the Ace of Emotions. So, Leslie, I know, oh boy, for you, and I get that, oh boy, because you're just taking on so much. It feels like you want a new start with, it's not relationships, again, it's not like a love relationship. It's your family. And you are wanting to come up for air because there's so many things you want to say, and you're just taking on so much, and you need a breath of air. You really cannot do it all, and you got to come up for air.
And then I've got Kelly. Oh, you're done, right?
I am.
Kelly.
I could keep going, but I won't.
All right, Kelly, I got the Four of Swords here. I know you've been working on some projects, sounds like, Kelly. Feels like you've been working on some things. I think you need to take a step back and take a break at it. But also during this break is actually look at it with a kind of a new set of eyes. Look at it as a different version and make sure you're going down the right path with this project.
Should we go to the lightning round? I mean, to the 1, 2, 3? It's 8:30.
Probably.
Okay, so what
I
we're
put
going to
that right in my way. I can't even see the clock.
Okay, so it is 8:30, so it's
Matt
time.
said yes.
We're going to do 1, 2, 3. You guys pick 1, 2, or 3 for this week, and you don't know who's going to be 1, 2, or 3. Just decide in your mind
Well,
if
all
you're
we
1,
know
2, or
is
3.
what Michelle's picking.
And once you get that, Roger. Actually, we're going to have Diane be number 1, so she's going to read for everybody who picked number 1.
Okay. We're ready to go?
Yeah.
Yep, go.
Okay. Number ones, you have the Six of Wands. Okay, so the Six of Wands is to be able to let yourself be seen, right? And to be part of community in that sense, so that whatever your celebration is, it's about thanking those who helped you get to where you are. So this might be a good time for you to write that thank you note, and also remember who brought you to the dance, right? In the sense that you want to remember that we very rarely exist in a bubble. So we want to think about community as we're celebrating our successes.
Love that. That's the card, you guys, that I am in the Pocket of Peers in Jamie Sawyer's deck that the Kickstarter's coming out. I am the Six of Wands in that, and I will receive that, even though I picked number 2 every single time. Okay, so I picked for the number 2s. I was going to have you go next, but I'll go.
Reading
the
for
Knight
yourself.
of Swords. Yeah, I'm reading for myself. But anyway, the Knight of Swords. Look at how Ethany drew this. I love it.
That's beautiful.
Okay, so just like Diane said earlier, this is how I read the court cards. Man, this Knight of Swords is raring to go. You guys want to be at the front of everything, and this week, y'all are going to want to, including me, because I'm picked 2, you're going to want to charge in no matter what. You're going to want to take over. You're going to want to say things that I want you to pull back a little bit this week. You don't have to fall off the horse pulling back, but you need to pull back just a little bit and restrain yourself just a tiny what you're going to say, because your thoughts are coming a lot faster than your words are prepared to speak. So just control yourself a little bit. That's a page, then it's a knight. You don't have mastery totally over what you need to say yet, even though, because your mind's going this fast. Slow it down, reel it back in just a little bit. Prepare yourself more for what you need to say before you stick your foot in it.
God, I'm going to record that as a ringtone for her.
That's going to be played back. Okay. All right.
Can we do a snippet of that, Matt? Just a snippet of that, yeah.
Number threes.
Thanks.
Don't you
All
dare.
right, number threes. I got the strength card. So as all those number twos are pulling back, number threes, y'all are going full force, straight on, hit everything you have this week, and actually go for the gusto all the way out.
Okay.
Bam.
Okay. And bang the table when you're doing it. So we thank you so much, Diane. I want to plug this. Why don't you plug my book?
And welcome once again to SoulWhat, or Michelle's book, Magic of Connection. Actually, you guys, really, you can pick this book up here. We do have copies. We had some come in today. We had probably down to like 20 copies, but we had a case of them come in today. So you can order it online. You can come by the store. We do have them at both locations. You can also pick it up. If you go to michellewelch.com, you'll see a whole list of places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Even if you're in the UK, there's places in the UK you can get it up. Fatima got them in her shop. She actually posted it earlier today. I don't know if you saw. So
we love her shop.
Yeah, so yeah,
it's in
so
all the little. It's in the big, the independent shops, but all the like. It's in Austin. It's in California. Yep. We checked.
Yeah.
And you can get it on Amazon if you don't write. You know, I'll put it this way: anybody who's written a book, here's what they really appreciate. Whoever it is, don't think you have to write the review where you write it out like you're writing a book. If you could just do them the honor of writing a review for them, that's a really big thank you could do to somebody who's written a book. I've learned that.
I gave it a 5 stars and I said pretty lady on it. And that's what I did. She's a pretty lady.
That was you, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was me.
Okay. And so
now what am I going to do for a review? That was going to be my review.
Yes. Oh, thank you. So Diane, we can find, I'm going to be on Diane's show on the 16th, right, Diane? I think.
Yes.
And
yes,
so,
that is exactly right.
And we will
February
post
16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. So that would be
11 o'clock.
11 a.m. our time and Dallas time. And where is the best way for everyone to get in touch with you, Diane?
Yeah, sure. So Instagram is where I am very active, and I do live Instagram, IGTV interviews like the one I'm going to be doing with Michelle. And so I do that just about every Tuesday at 12 noon. So Instagram at Urban Siren Creative I love connecting with people on social media. And then on that profile, you'll be able to see my little link tree, and I've got a whole bunch of different places where you can further connect with me, including my online school, urbansirenschool.thinkific.com.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming on. We've been looking forward to it. I appreciate all of your understanding, and we're just enjoying connecting with you and getting to know you better and better. I'm sure there's more to come.
Yes, I believe there is.
Be getting together, I think a lot more. Yeah, because our worlds have collided for sure, right? For sure.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Thank everybody tonight for joining us on SoulWhat, where we discuss things that we try to decide if things are important to our soul. Why don't you take us out, babe?
Okay. And you can find us on the SoulWhat Facebook page, Michelle Soultopia YouTube, and also any Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere else you can listen to podcasts.
Thanks for joining us,
Thanks
you
for joining us, guys.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.